Hi there everyone, my name is Adam and welcome to Mirror World News. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Today we're going to be going over how you can make a map for your book and why it's even useful to do so. So don't go anywhere. Hi there everybody, like I said, today we are going to be working on map making. Now the tutorial that we're going to show you today is a practical tutorial on how you can create a believable map. Now you're going to need a couple of things first of all. You're going to need to understand in the world that you're creating where things really are and what you want to show. So for example, in our map, let's say we're going to have a northern kingdom near a lake. There's going to be maybe a couple mountains up there, but we're going to have a small skinny neck of land leading to the north that's easily defendable that you can see the ocean from either side looking on. So let's say that. Also to the southlands, we're going to have a huge desert, and we're going to have a neighboring enemy country somewhere to the southwest, let's say. Okay? There's also going to be different countries and different towns all over the world, including, let's say, a swamp or a marsh somewhere as well. All these locations throughout the story, the one book, or in some cases, multiple books, the heroes will explore these areas and will be able to showcase them better to the audience. In putting them on a map, it lets the audience know and us know exactly where things are in the world. That way they're not as lost when you start talking about different countries or different locations in the world. So let's jump right into the tutorial and show you how to make a map for your own story.
Now there's a few materials that you're going to need to make your own map. I have a couple pencil crayons here and a pencil sharpener, as well as a piece of paper. It's not a whole lot of stuff that you're going to need, but I'm going to be using a pencil crayon of black instead of a regular pencil, just so that it'll show up a little bit better on the paper. Generally you'll want to use a pencil though, that way you can erase things if you need to, but for today I'm going to be using this black pencil crayon. Now because my paper is so rolly, I'm going to be needing this tape, and I also have a T-square here with me that I'm going to be using. You'll see what I do with T-square here, because it's a rolly piece of paper, so I have to flatten it down. So I just move that tape out of the way there. Okay. Just flatten it down. I'm not using the T-square to make it straight or anything. I'm just going to... There we go. Now I tape it down that way. It doesn't go anywhere when I draw my pictures. Now, I have sped up the actual creation of the map here just so that it doesn't take a half an hour, because that's how long it did take me to do this. The first thing you're going to want to do is do the outline of what your world's going to look like. Again, I'm using a black pencil crayon. I suggest a pencil. That way it doesn't get too dark right away and you can erase things if you need to. Always hold your pencil more to the back of the pencil. That way you get that slightly wavy coastline. That way it's not an exact line. Now what I'm doing right now is I'm drawing a river with little branches that come off of it here. That way I can add some interesting aspects to the map itself, including different lakes all around the area. And again, in your story, you can name these lakes. That way, whenever a character's talking about them, they actually exist and you always know where they are. I've now decided that I'm going to put that marsh that we were talking about in the intro down here on the south side of the map. The little squares will represent the towns that are well known on the map itself, and I just color them that way. That's easier for me to spot them when I just look at my map itself. And then I did mention that I want to have different countries, so I find areas of natural borders that I could utilize for my country borders. Now I'm going to add in some flair for mountains, and you can name every single one of these places in your world. That way they all have a real place. I actually made a little pass for one of the towns, that way it had a little bit more character to it. And then you just color them in, just whatever color you need to. Again, the map just is filling our basic needs, but we have a lot to it. Now, you could just color the entire map in green, which I do eventually color the whole map in, but I am using a dark green first to denote deep, thick forests. You have to make sure to make a difference in your different colors that you use across your world. That way they stand out to you very, very well. So you'll see here now I'm just coloring a base into the whole world, kind of green, just regular grasslands and small forests and thickets. And then I'll darken certain areas. That way you can see them that are darker. Put the desert in there. That way it's a different color than the regular dirt. And then I outline my world in blue just to show where the coasts are, just so that it stands out a lot easier. It kind of pops a little bit better just so you can see it. And with all of that work done, from nothing, now you have a whole map. And it shows all the different locations that we initially wanted. We wanted the Northland with the tiny little speck of land, the tiny little neck of land. We wanted the desert. We wanted to have a little marshland. And everything all works out, and we have different countries on our map. And that's how easy it is to do.
And so we now have our map. The map itself is created, and now we have a visual representation of what we want in our world, from the deserts to the south, all the way to the northlands with the small spit of land that we had on them before. And the map itself, now that it's created, we can always go back to it to see exactly where things are in our world. That way, no matter if we're writing a book 2 down the series, or if we're writing a book just later on in a farther chapter, we can always reference in our world where things are. That way they never change. Nothing is as frustrating to a reader when they read something, find out what it looks like or where it is in the world, and then 2 books later it's a different thing, or it's named differently, or it's in a different location. Now, you don't have to make a huge map like this one of a world or a continent. You can do a small one of a town, or even smaller, a building, or even smaller, a specific room. So if you have a room that is designed a specific way in your story, you can always draw it out. Just a basic design. It doesn't even have to be shown to the readers eventually. It's just for you, so that you can always stay on topic. Maps not only help the readers base themselves in your world, it helps you keep consistent. And consistency is key, especially when you're dealing with situations where you have a lot of detail that you're going to have to remember. Well, again, for map making, my name is Adam. Thank you so much for joining us today on Mirror World News. Make sure to stay tuned next week, and make sure to click that like and subscribe button. Thank you so much, and you have yourself a wonderful day.